Everything changes the moment Casey steps into that silent, wind-blown graveyard because the one name missing from his lips is the name that once defined his entire world. And when the final trailer shows that freshly dug grave, one terrifying truth hits harder than any gunshot. Monica is gone. But the real shock? Casey isn't running from this pain. He's walking straight into a darker path, one that pulls him into the heart of the U.S. Marshals, a place where revenge hides behind every badge. The final trailer drops us into a storm of emotion, and Casey stands right at the center of it. He's no longer the man we knew at East Camp. His calm days, his quiet mornings, the peace he tried so hard to build. Every bit of it shatters the moment Monica disappears from his life. And the trailer doesn't hide it for a second. That grave, that silence, that empty look in Casey's eyes tells us everything we need to know. Whether Monica was taken, murdered, or ripped away by something far more sinister, one thing is certain: Casey's world has collapsed. And when Casey says, "I've lost my teammates, my parents, even my brothers," the painful truth becomes clear. He's avoiding one name. He's avoiding the name that hurts the most. The trailer quickly shifts gears and takes us into Casey's new battlefield, the U.S. Marshals. And honestly, the energy of these scenes is wild. One moment, Casey is staring down at a grave. The next, he's standing face to face with Pete Davis, the tough, sharp-eyed marshal who seems to know exactly what Casey is about to do. Pete isn't just recruiting him, he's pulling him into a war where justice and revenge look dangerously alike. And the way Casey looks at him, it's like he already made his choice long before Pete even asked. He's not joining the Marshals to serve the law. He's joining to hunt. Quietly, methodically, and with a rage he keeps locked behind his calm expression. But then we see Thomas, the one person who understands the darkness inside every Dutton. His scene with Casey is one of the most powerful moments in the trailer. Casey insists every Dutton carries a killer instinct, but Thomas pushes back, telling him he's more of a protector than a destroyer. And here's where it gets really interesting. Thomas clearly fears where Casey's grief is pushing him. He knows Casey is on the edge of something dangerous. He knows Casey is ready to cross a line he may never come back from. And despite everything, Thomas looks like the only person trying to pull him back from that edge. Their relationship might become the emotional backbone of episode 1. Then there's Tate. And honestly, Tate's expression in the trailer? It's heartbreaking. This kid has survived kidnappings, violence, trauma, and endless threats. Now he's facing the biggest pain of all, losing his mother. The trailer doesn't show much about Tate, but it shows enough. The anger in his eyes is unmistakable. And this anger could become explosive. A child like Tate, carrying that much trauma, mixed with grief, mixed with fear, episode 1 might show him spiraling faster than Casey expects. And with Casey joining the Marshals, someone has to protect Tate while he dives into danger. That responsibility will likely fall on Thomas, who becomes a guardian not just for Casey, but for Tate too. The trailer also hints at the new team Casey will be working with. Miles, Katie appears like a calm but deadly type, someone Thomas trusts to keep an eye on Casey. But it's the presence of the two female Marshals, Andrea Santos and Belle Skinner, that adds a surprising layer. Their tension, their sharp looks, the intensity of their scenes, it all hints at something deeper forming within the team. And while a romantic angle feels too soon for Casey after losing Monica, the chemistry teased in the trailer is strong enough to raise questions. The writers clearly know what they're doing. They're planting seeds. Whether those seeds grow now or later, we're left hanging. But the biggest spark of episode 1 comes from the action. The trailer is loaded with chaos, gunfire, chases, confrontations, and Casey standing in the middle of it all with a cold, conflicted intensity. There's a scene where Casey catches a man, aims his gun, and then suddenly steps back. He lowers the weapon. He lets the man live. That moment is huge, because it hints at an internal war inside Casey. This man could be connected to Monica. This man could be the reason Casey joined the Marshals. But for a split second, Casey chooses restraint. And that restraint might cost him later. It sets the tone for a season filled with guilt, moral battles, and deadly consequences. Episode 1 seems ready to throw Casey into a labyrinth of secrets. A fresh grave, a missing wife, a son drowning in anger, a friend recruiting him for reasons that may not be fully honest, a mentor trying to keep him from becoming a monster, and a team he barely knows but must trust with his life. The final trailer doesn't just tease an episode, it warns us that Casey is about to walk into the darkest chapter of his story. The deeper we dive into the final trailer, the clearer it becomes that episode 1 isn't just setting up a new story, it's tearing apart everything Casey thought he knew. The trailer builds this slow-burning tension around the US Marshals, almost like Casey is walking into a place that looks like justice on the outside, but hides something far more complicated underneath. Pete Davis, the man who recruits Casey, feels less like a mentor and more like someone who knows Casey's darkest intentions and is willing to use them. His voice, his expression, the way he talks to Casey. It's almost as if Pete has been waiting for this broken version of him. And that raises the biggest question of episode 1. Did Pete call Casey to help him or to use him? As the trailer continues, we see quick flashes of the Marshals' headquarters. Tense, crowded, buzzing with mission plans and criminal files. Casey steps into this world like someone who already knows he doesn't belong. He's quiet, observant, judging every face around him. Miles, Katie, stands close, almost like he has instructions to watch Casey's every move. This puts Casey in a strange position. He's part of the team, but also isolated from it. He's trusted, but also being monitored. It hints that Thomas asked Miles to keep Casey grounded, to stop him from slipping too far into revenge. But Casey isn't the type to be controlled, and this could lead to major conflicts inside the unit from the very first mission. Belle Skinner and Andrea Santos add even more intensity to episode 1. The trailer shows Belle moving with confidence, the type of character who doesn't care if you like her, she only cares if you can keep up with her. Andrea, on the other hand, has this sharp, focused energy, almost like she sees everything Casey is trying to hide. When she looks at him, it's like she already knows he's not here for justice. She sees the grief, the exhaustion, the anger. And that recognition could make her either one of Casey's strongest allies or the first person to expose what he's really planning. But then comes the moment the entire trailer seems to build toward Casey's first mission with the Marshals. The sirens, the gunfire, the shouted commands, everything moves fast. And right in the middle of this chaos, Casey is completely calm. Too calm. He moves like someone who feels nothing, not fear, not hesitation, not even adrenaline. This version of Casey is colder than ever before. But he's also sharper, faster, more dangerous. And the Marshals notice it. Belle looks shocked. Miles looks uneasy. Pete looks satisfied. It's a chilling moment. The realization that Casey is more dangerous now than at any point in Yellowstone. Then comes the most shocking scene of all. Casey chasing a suspect through an empty industrial area. His footsteps echo. The man falls. Casey pulls his gun. The camera holds on his face. Empty, devastated, angry, and tired. It feels like he's ready to pull the trigger, like killing this man might finally give him a sense of justice. But suddenly something stops him. Maybe Thomas's words echo in his mind. Maybe he sees Monica in that moment. Maybe he remembers Tate. Whatever it is, Casey lowers his gun. He chooses mercy. But the trailer doesn't let us breathe. The very next shot shows Miles shouting as bullets fly. Someone from the team is hit. The whole mission collapses into panic. And while the trailer doesn't reveal exactly who gets shot, the way Casey reacts is terrifying. He looks like someone who just realized his mercy may have caused this. That hesitation, that moment of weakness, might become the guilt that eats him alive for the rest of the season. And this sets up a huge theme for episode 1. Casey will constantly struggle between the man he used to be and the man his grief is trying to turn him into. Meanwhile, Tate's story quietly grows in the background. He's barely shown in the trailer, but those small moments speak volumes. Tate staring out a window. Tate clenching his jaw. Tate turning away from someone trying to comfort him. These tiny flashes suggest that Tate is shutting down completely. He's hurting, but he's angry too. And his anger could explode at the worst possible time. Episode 1 might show him pushing Thomas away, refusing help, or even confronting Casey about leaving him behind. And that emotional distance between father and son could become one of the most heartbreaking parts of the entire season. The trailer also hints at something even darker, the idea that Monica's death wasn't random. A shot of a strange symbol on a door. A quick glimpse of masked men. A file folder being slammed shut. All of it suggests deeper secrets, hidden enemies, and a conspiracy far bigger than one tragedy. Episode 1 might open the first door into this mystery, and Casey's decision to join the Marshals may not be as simple as revenge. It might be the only way to uncover the truth behind Monica's disappearance. By the end of the trailer, one thing becomes clear. Episode 1 isn't about introducing Casey to a new world. It's about dragging him into the darkest chapter of his life. The Marshals need him. Tate needs him. Thomas is trying to protect him. But grief is steering him more than any of them realize. And episode 1 will show us the moment Casey decides whether he's chasing justice or becoming the very thing he fears. As the final trailer reaches its peak, the tone shifts into something heavier, darker, and far more dangerous. Every second of this last stretch feels like it's warning us that episode 1 won't just be emotional, it will be explosive. The story begins tightening around Casey, almost trapping him between loyalty, grief, and the violent world he's stepping into. And the most gripping part? Casey isn't running from any of it. He's walking straight into the storm, knowing exactly how much it might cost him. One of the most intense moments in the trailer shows Thomas watching Casey from a distance. Thomas isn't just worried, he looks scared. Not scared of the criminals. Not scared of the Marshals. Scared of what Casey might become. Thomas has always seen Casey's heart more clearly than Casey sees it himself, and now he's watching that heart freeze into something cold and unfamiliar. Episode 1 might reveal Thomas struggling to balance two roles, guiding Casey as a leader and protecting him as a father figure. But there's a problem. Casey isn't listening. He's polite, quiet, respectful, but emotionally, he's unreachable. And Thomas knows that a man who feels nothing is the most dangerous kind of fighter. Meanwhile, Pete Davis seems to be pushing Casey deeper into the Marshals' missions. His face in the trailer is strangely confident, even eager. It almost feels like Pete wants Casey exactly in this fragile, broken state. There's a strong chance episode 1 will hint that Pete's connection to Casey goes beyond simple partnership. Maybe he knows more about Monica's disappearance than he lets on. Maybe he needs Casey for a mission that's been in the works long before Monica's tragedy. Or maybe Pete sees Casey as a weapon, unpredictable, deadly, and perfect for the kind of criminals the Marshals are hunting. And if Pete is manipulating Casey's grief for his own purposes, the conflict between them later in the series could be massive. Belle Skinner and Andrea Santos bring another layer of tension into episode 1. One scene in the trailer shows Belle staring at Casey with an expression that's hard to read. Part shock, part frustration, part worry. It suggests she sees the flaw in Casey's approach. She sees the recklessness, the suppressed emotion, the dangerous calm. Andrea's reaction is different. She seems to understand Casey on a deeper level, almost like she recognizes the silent storm inside him because she's lived her own version of it. Their dynamic with Casey could become one of the most important elements of the season. Not romantic, but something even more gripping. A connection built on scars, trust, secrets, and mission pressure. And then there's Miles Cady. If the trailer is hinting at anything, it's that Miles will be the character caught in the middle of every conflict. Between Pete's orders, Thomas's warnings, and Casey's unpredictable behavior, Miles becomes the stabilizing force of the team. But even he seems shaken in the trailer. The quick shot of him shouting, ducking for cover, trying to reach someone while bullets rain down, it suggests a brutal turning point. Episode 1 might leave the team fractured before they've even fully formed. And if someone gets seriously hurt or dies because Casey hesitated earlier, the guilt inside him will become unbearable. But the biggest shock in the entire trailer comes near the end, a moment so quick that many viewers might miss it. A shot of Monica's necklace. A small item, barely visible, lying next to a blood-stained surface. This single frame changes everything. It tells us Monica didn't just die. She was targeted. And whoever went after her left a message, not for the Marshals, not for Thomas, but for Casey. Episode 1 might reveal that Monica's death is only the beginning of something bigger, something planned, something connected to the symbol we saw earlier and the masked men in the shadows. This means Casey isn't joining the Marshals just to heal his pain. He's stepping into a conspiracy that may have been watching him long before Monica's grave was even dug. The trailer ends with one final shot that sends chills down your spine. Casey's standing alone in a dark hallway, his face half in shadow, his badge hanging loosely from his fingers. He's breathing hard, staring at something we can't see. And the expression on his face is one we've never seen before. It's not anger, not grief, not confusion. It's the look of a man who's made a decision. A decision that will define the entire season. A decision that could destroy him or save him. Episode 1 will reveal the moment Casey stops being a grieving husband and becomes something much more dangerous. By the time the trailer cuts to black, one thing is clear. Why? Marshals isn't just a spinoff. It's a full transformation of Casey Dutton. Episode 1 is shaping up to be the emotional and explosive beginning of that transformation. A mysterious death, a broken family, a secretive agency, new allies, hidden enemies, and a war only Casey can fight. The season is preparing to throw him into a maze of betrayal, violence, and truth, and the final trailer makes it obvious that not everyone will make it out alive. Episode 1 will be the moment everything changes. Monica's absence will haunt every frame. Tate's struggle will break hearts. Thomas's warnings will echo in the background. Pete's intentions will raise questions. And Casey's choices will shape the future of the entire series. This isn't just a new chapter. It's the chapter that might turn Casey into a legend or bury him alongside the woman he lost.